Horton Hears a Who by Dr. Seuss. On the 15th of May, in the jungle of Newell, in the heat of the day, in the cool of the pool, he was splashing, enjoying the jungle's great joys, when Horton the elephant heard a small noise. So Horton stopped splashing. He looked toward the sound. "That's funny," thought Horton. "There's no one around." Then he heard it again, just a very faint yelp, as if some tiny person were calling for help. "I'll help you," said Horton. "But who are you? Where?" He looked and he looked. He could see nothing there, but a small speck of dust blowing past through the air. "I say," murmured Horton, "I never heard tell of a small speck of dust that is able to yell. So you know what I think? What I think that there must be someone on top of that small speck of dust. Some sort of a creature of very small size, too small to be seen by an elephant's eyes. Some poor little person who's shaking with fear that I'll blow in the pool he has no way to steer. I'll just have to save him because, after all, a person's a person no matter how small." So gently and using the greatest of care, the elephant stretched his giant trunk through the air, and he lifted the dust speck and carried it over, and placed it down safe on a very soft clover. "Humph!" humphed the voice. 'Twas the sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Humph!" too. "Why, that speck is as small as the head of a pin. A person on that, why, there never has been." "Believe me," said Horton, I tell you certainly, sincerely. My ears are quite been, and I heard him quite clearly. I know there's a person down there, and what's more, quite likely there's two, even three, even four, quite likely a family for all that we know. A family with children just starting to grow. So please," Horton said, "as a favor to me, try not to disturb them. Just please let them be." "I think you are a fool," laughed the sour kangaroo, and the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me too. You're the biggest brain of fool in the jungle of Newell," and the kangaroo plunged in the cool of the pool. "What terrible splashing!" the elephant frowned. "I can't let you very small persons get drowned. I'll got to protect them. I'm biggest than they." So he plucked up the clover and hustled away through the high jungle treetops. The news quietly spread. "He talks to a dust speck. He's out of his head. Just look at him walk with that speck on that flower." And Horton walked worrying almost an hour. "Should I put this speck down?" Horton thought with alarm. "If I do, these small persons may come to great harm. I can't put it down, and I won't after all. A person's a person no matter how small." Then Horton stopped walking. The speck voice was talking. The voice was so faint he could just barely hear it. "Speak up, please," said Horton. He put his ear near it. "My friend," came the voice, "you're a very fine friend. You help all us folks on this dust speck no end. You save our houses, our ceilings and floors. You save on our churches and grocery stores." But just as he spoke to the mere of a speck, 3 big jungle monkeys climbed up Horton's neck. The Wickersham brothers came shouting. What not? The elephants talking who's who are not. There are no way who's, and they don't have a mare. and we're going to stop all this nonsense, so there. They snatched Horton's clover. They carried it off to a black-bottomed eagle named Valid it off, a mighty strong eagle of very swift wing. They said, "Will you kindly get rid of this thing?" And before the poor elephant could speak, that eagle flew off with a flower in his beak. All that late afternoon and far into the night, that black-bottomed bird flapped his wings in fast flight, while Horton closed after with groans over stones, then tattered his toenails and battered his bones, and begged, "Please don't harm my little folks who have such right to live as us bigger folks do." But far, far beyond him, that eagle kept flying, and over his shoulder called back, "Quit your yapping. I'll fly the night through. I'm a bird, I don't mind it, and I'll hide this tomorrow where you never find it." And at 6:56 the next morning he did it. It sure was a terrible place that he'd hid it. He let a small clover drop somewhere inside of a great patch of flowers 100 miles wide. "Find that," sneered the bird, "but I think you will fail." And he left with a flip of his back-bottomed tail. "I'll find it," cried Horton. "I'll find it out or bust. I shall find my friends on my small speck of dust." And clover by clover with care, he picked up and searched them and called, "Are you there?" But clover by clover he found that the one that he sought for it was just not around. And by noon poor old Horton, more dead than alive, had picked, searched, and piled up 9,005. Then, on through the afternoon, hour after hour, then he found them at last on a 3,000,000th flower. "My friends," cried the elephant, "tell me, do tell, are you safe? Are you sound? Are you whole? Are you well?" From down on the speck came the voice of the mayor. "We'll finally had trouble much more than our share, when the black-bottomed birdie let go and we dropped. We landed so hard that our clocks have all stopped. Our teapots are broken, our rocking chairs smashed, and our bicycle towers all blew up when we crashed. So Horton, please," pleaded that voice of the mayor's, "will you stick by us who's while you're making repairs?" "Of course," Horton answered, "of course I will stick. I'll stick by your small folks through thin and through thick." "Humph," hummed the voice, "for almost 2 days you run wild and insist on chatting with persons who never exist. Such carryings-on in our peaceable jungle. We have quite enough of our belling bungle. And I'm here to state," snapped the big kangaroo, "then you silly nonsense game is all through." And the young kangaroo in your pouch said, "Me too." With the help of the Wickersham brothers and dozens of Wickersham uncles and Wickersham cousins and Wickersham-in-laws, whose help and engaged, you're going to be roped and you're going to be caged. As for your dust speck, that we shall boil in a hot steaming kettle of bezel nut oil. "Boil it?" gasped Horton. "Oh, that you can't do. It's all full of persons. They'll prove it to you." Mr. Mayor," Horton called. "Mr. Mayor, you got to prove it. Prove now that you really are there. So call a big meeting, get everything out. Make every who holler, make every who shout, make every who scream. If you don't, every who is going to end up in a bezel nut stew." And down on the dust speck, the scared little mayor quick called the big meeting in Whoville town square, and his people cried loudly, then cried out in fear, "We are here, we are here, we are here, we are here." The elephant smiled, that it was clear as a bell. Your kangaroo surely that heard that very well. All I heard, snapped the big kangaroo, was the breeze and the faint sound of wind through the far distant trees. I heard no small voices, and you didn't either. And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me neither." "Grab him," they shouted, "and carry a big dope. Lasso his stomach with 10 miles of rope. Tie the knots tied so he'll never shake loose. Then the dump, speck in the bezel nut juice." Horton fought back with great vigor and vim, but the Wickersham gang was too many for him. They beat him, they mauled him, they started to haul him into his cage, but he managed to call to the mare, "Don't give up, I believe in you all. A person's a person no matter how small. And you very small persons will not have to die, if you make yourselves heard, so come on now and try." The mayor grabbed a tom-tom, he started to smack it, and all over Whoville they whooped up a racket. They rattled tin kettles, they beat on brass pans, on garbage pail tops and old cranberry cans. They blew up bazookas and blast great toots, on clarinets, oompas and boompas and flutes. Great gusts of loud racket rang high through the air. They rattled and shook the whole sky, and the mayor called through the hauling and hullabaloo, "Hey, Horton, how's this? Is our small sound coming through?" And Horton called back, "I can hear you just fine, but the kangaroo's ears aren't as strong quite as mine. They don't hear a thing. Are you sure your boys are doing their best? Are they all making noise? Are you sure every who down in Whoville is working? Quick, look through the town. Is there anyone shrinking?" Through the town rushed the mayor from the east to the west, but everyone seemed to be doing his best. Everyone seemed to be yipping and yapping or yipping. Everyone seemed to be beeping or bipping. But it wasn't enough, all this ruckus and roar. He had to find someone to help him make more. He raced through each building, he searched floor to floor. And just as he felt where he was getting now here, and almost about to give up in despair, he suddenly burst through a door in that mare, discovered one shrinker quite hidden way, in the Fairfax Apartments, apartment 12J. A very small shrinker named Jojo was just standing and bouncing a yo-yo, not making a sound, not a yip and a chirp, and the mayor rushed inside and he grabbed a young twerp. And he climbed with the lap up with the Alphaberg Tower. "This," cried the mayor, "is your town's darkest hour. The time for all who have blood that is red, to come to the aid of their country," he said. "We've got to make noises in greater accounts, so open your mouth, lad, for every voice counts." Then he spoke as he climbed when they got to the top. The lad cleared his throat as he shouted out, "Yop!" And the yop, that one small extra yop, pulled over. Finally, at last, from the speck on that clover, the voices were heard. They rang out clear and clean, and the elephant smiled. "Do you see what I mean? They'll prove they are persons no matter how small, and their whole world was saved by the smallest of all." "How true, yes, how true," said the big kangaroo. "And from now on, you know what I'm planning to do? From now on, I'm going to protect them, you." And the young kangaroo in her pouch said, "Me too. From sun in the summer, from rain when it's fallish, I'm going to protect them no matter how smallish."